Jack, still leaning back on the couch, gave a half-hearted nod. Yeah, let's switch to something less the world is on fire and everything has gone to shit, and more people falling over for our amusement and cute fluffy kittens and stuff. Now that's my kind of entertainment. Allura smiled as she flipped through the channels. After skipping past a few dull corporate talk shows and reruns of crime dramas the others had all apparently seen before, she landed on something with flashing lights, pounding music, and a disembodied, excited announcer's voice. Good evening, one and all. Welcome back to Battle Gauntlet, the game show where only the strongest, the fastest, and the craziest compete to survive against our titans. Oh, hell yeah, Nika grinned. I forgot they were making a new season of this. Jack curiously perked up as the screen panned around a large, brightly lit but empty arena, surrounded by a cheering crowd sitting in the stands. He couldn't for the life of him work out what this was, as he couldn't see anything but a large black floor with glowing lights in a grid-like pattern. Suddenly, the introduction to some heavy rock music began to play, as spotlights snaked along the ground to one of the corners, which looked like a stage entrance displayed in bright neon colours. Chio, now more relaxed after the serious news, chuckled softly. I suppose this is a better way to wind down than hearing about serial killers and corporate wars. We should sign you up for this, Chio, Scifi grinned. Don't you fucking dare, the Ilithi retorted, yeeting a cushion at the scritter, as the room laughed. The show cut to a contestant introduction, with an overly confident reptilian man calling himself Big Riff flex for the camera, while explaining how his elite training regimen of protein shakes, positive vibes, and a fuck-ton of steroids will make him the next champion. Actually, we should totally sign Jack up to this, Scifi spoke up. The show or the steroids? Carson asked. Why not both? Scifi shrugged, with an unrepentant smirk. Only if you do it with me, Jack snorted. Hard pass, Scifi retorted, to more laughs. The camera then panned to the actual titans as they were introduced. Predictably, they were all hulking, costumed warriors with names like Bloodwing and Mega Hammer. The crowd roared as they took up their weapons, ready to pummel the contestants into next week. Chio adjusted her glasses. Statistically, these challengers have no chance of winning. Many seasons end prematurely without a champion due to injuries. Nika grinned. Yeah, but that's what makes it fun. And game 1 is gonna be Gridiron! The announcer called out to cheers from the crowd, as a pitch was quickly set up by droids. A part of the floor opened up to reveal a huge tank of water, while a crisscross of beams was lowered from the ceiling, with droids zipping around the set to attach it all together. Contestants, take your positions! The contestants were all directed to one side of the arena by members of staff, where a ladder was brought for them to climb up to a platform at one end, and it became very obvious to Jack that the goal was to simply get to the other side. Now for the Titans! That will stop them from crossing! The announcer continued. First up is Jetstream! Then we have Meteor! And finally, it's the magnificent, it's the terrifying, it's Giga Chad! Oh, those contestants are fucked, Jack snorted, as he saw the size of the veritable bodybuilders carrying weapons lumber their way up onto the platform, while one or two of the contestants had to be prevented from running away by the staff. I really hope our game tomorrow won't be as rough as this, Rail nervously spoke up from the armrest of one of the sofas. Relax, we're facing some wizards our age rather than full adults, and they're just as scared of us. Besides, you're in the back row anyway. Zale lazily spoke up from where the gecko was curled up among a few cushions on the floor. The first contestant, Big Riff, sprinted forward with all the confidence of a man who had absolutely no idea what was about to happen to him. He ducked and weaved, barely avoiding a giant padded hammer swing by Meteor, only to be immediately smacked in the head by a flying spinning kick from Jetstream. Oh! The entire room gasped in unison, as Big Riff ragdolled wildly in midair before splashing into the water pit below, with droids quickly moving to recover the knocked-out reptile. Scifi snorted, barely able to contain her laughter. Dude really thought he had a chance. Jack smirked, shaking his head. I respect the confidence, but holy shit, that was brutal. The camera cut to an instant replay of the hit from multiple angles, complete with slow-motion commentary. Vanya leaned in close to Jack, resting an elbow on the back of the couch. If you were in there, think you'd do better, big guy? She asked, with a teasing smile. Jack stretched slightly, giving a harsh shrug as he grinned. Depends. Do I get my gun? Nika scoffed. No guns, coward. Hand to hand like the rest of us. Jack smirked. I'll last longer than Big Riff at least. The next contestant, a wiry-looking bear-like woman with a fierce glare, was announced as Speeder. The announcer hyped her up as a former parkour champion, and the crowd cheered as she cracked her knuckles, looking completely unbothered by the hulking titans ahead of her. Oh, she's going to win, Chio stated matter-of-factly, pushing up her glasses. Alora tilted her head. Why do you think that, Chio? She's light, agile, and has experience with movement-based challenges. Her ability to navigate obstacles will give her an advantage over brute force. I don't know, Scifi mused, leaning forward while her eyes locked on the screen. I mean, the Titans must have done this countless times. If they bait her or box her in, she's buggered. The buzzer sounded, and Speeder shot forward, dodging Jetstream with ease, before launching herself off the side railing, bouncing between platforms, and dodging a swipe from Meteor. She's going to do it! Rail exclaimed, as Speeder ran as fast as she could to just barely escape Giga Chad, before making it onto the platform, to huge cheers from the crowd. Yes! Nika pumped her fist in victory. Chio simply nodded, satisfied, as expected. Even Alora was smiling. That was impressive. Oh no! What's this? The announcer called, as Giga Chad playfully grabbed the victorious Speeder and threw her into the water anyway, then posed to soak in the booze and laughs from the crowd. It looks like Giga Chad's not too happy Speeder got away. Jack spoke up, a little confused. Oh yeah, they do pull those kind of shenanigans a lot, Nika laughed. It's just one of those things for the entertainment of those watching. Well, at least they all look like good sports about it, Jack noted, as Jetstream helped Speeder out of the water. They usually are. It's a Mirrodin show that they put a lot of money into to compete with Corvin Enterprises, Alora noted, as she sipped her tea. The Titans are like mini celebrities with brand deals and show appearances, though it's all in-house. And next up, we have No Fear Mir, the announcer called out, as a small avian with light blue feathers in a bright neon yellow tracksuit in Mirrodin colours grinned with way too much confidence as he walked up to the platform waving to the crowd. Working diligently as a magister in the chiromancy department at Mirrodin Magic Technology, he's ready to prove that he's got what it takes to be a hero. Oh, this guy's gonna die, Scifi muttered, grinning. And sure enough, the second the buzzer went off, No Fear Mir ran straight ahead as fast as he could, leaped, and was immediately clotheslined mid-air by Giga Chad. The entire room burst into laughter as he tumbled end over end into the water. Ha ha! Oh wow! Nika wheezed, wiping tears from her eyes. Vanya actually had to brace herself against Jack as she cackled, He went flying! Even Alora covered her mouth to stifle a giggle. For a while, the only thing that mattered was watching more contestants eat absolute dirt against the Titans, cheering for the rare few that succeeded, and mocking the ones who made fools of themselves. For a change, they could all sit back and relax away from the chaos and horrors of the city. No deadly corporate wars, no killers, no destruction. Just pure ridiculous entertainment that they could all just chill out and relax to. As the final contestant of the night got unceremoniously dunked into the water pit, the credits for Battle Gauntlet rolled, and the announcer teased next week's episode. Scifi stretched with a yawn, her sharp ears flicking slightly. Alright, I'm calling it, she announced, lazily rolling off the couch, and only just managing to land on her feet. As fun as that was, I think I need my beauty sleep. You need more than just sleep for that, Scifi, Chio teased, easily catching the cushion promptly thrown at her. Seeing her primary attack foiled so easily, Scifi stuck her tongue out in response, but was too sleepy to keep up the banter. Scifi's right. Alora got up and stretched. "We've still got the last day of school tomorrow. You all have your game, and I need to attend a student council meeting. Not to mention what we have planned after. Busy times ahead either way." "Yes, Mother," Nika snickered, dodging a half-hearted swat from Alora as she headed down the corridor towards her room. Jack let out a content sigh, rubbing the back of his neck as he stood. For once he felt at ease. No looming mission, no immediate danger, just a night chilling with his friends, laughing at dumb TV, and now an actual chance to rest. Like people his age should. One by one, the group got up, stretching out their limbs after lounging for so long as they headed to their rooms. Jack didn't hang about, allowing himself to be caught up in the relaxing mood, and physically drained from working on the shuttle. Finally, the house settled as Jack made his way to his room, shutting the door behind him. He changed into something comfortable, stretched one last time, and flopped onto the bed, stretching his arm expectantly as Dante predictably joined him, getting a few scritches in return as they both drifted off to sleep. Jack woke up naturally to the soft golden light of the morning star filtering through the faded curtains. It took a moment for him to register the feeling, an unfamiliar lightness in his chest. No aches from tossing and turning in bed, no restlessness from staying up all night working, just rest. For once, he felt completely, utterly well rested, and had even woken up earlier than his alarm without having a nightmare. He got out of bed and began stretching, crossing his arm over his body and holding it in place while pacing up and down his room, swapping arms, then working on his shoulders before starting on his legs. All the while, Dante watched him from his perch on the end of Jack's bed, perfectly content to just lazily lay there. Once he was done, Jack checked his comlink and saw he'd woken up in good time, with only a few minutes until the alarm was due to go off, so he quickly showered and threw on his school uniform before heading downstairs. Jack was pleased as the morning air carried the scent of fresh food, rather than the nutrient paste or stale artificial bricks he had not grown fond of. As he stepped into the kitchen, the sight before him was yet another reminder of how much things had changed. Alora stood by the stove, stirring something in a pan, her brow slightly furrowed in concentration, but there was no tension in her shoulders as she made a pot of what looked like fruity porridge. "Morning," Jack greeted, as he headed down the stairs. "Good morning, Jack," Alora smiled, putting the pot on the low heat as she set aside a stack of bowls for people to help themselves, which Jack happily did. "Sleep well?" "Sure did," Jack smiled back, as he decided to grab some eggs from the fridge, along with some kind of sausage and bread to pad out the meal. It wasn't exactly Earth food, but it was close enough, and it smelled amazing. It was certainly leagues better than the energy bars and long-life canned stuff that used to be their breakfast. Alora sighed contentedly as she finished her bowl of porridge, but didn't go for another. "Well, I'd say we all deserved a full night's rest. Especially you, Jack." Jack didn't argue. They were right. It had been weeks since their last job, but it still felt weird to be waking up to something normal. A simple morning with friends, good food on the table, and no immediate danger waiting to ruin their day. After breakfast, the group began their usual morning routine, though with far less urgency than in the past. There was no scrambling for weapons, no double-checking their gear, just the everyday hustle of getting ready for school. Once everyone was ready, they stepped outside into the morning light. The walls of their home district cast long shadows, and the air was crisp but not unpleasant. Dante pattered along beside them for a while before stopping at the homestead's gates, knowing he couldn't follow them all the way, though Jack gave him a quick scratch behind the ears before they continued on, knowing the dog had plenty of space to run around and more than enough food left out for them. Their school bags slung over their shoulders, they made their way past the rural shacks of their mostly elderly neighbours, waving politely to those sitting on their porch or tilling the soil for their allotments. Eventually, they passed the checkpoints to the more urban areas of the city, though they had no problems with the guards, who were by now used to the students, and simply waved them through. Jack wasn't sure what to think about the security levels, but he was at least grateful the militia men and women no longer stared at him like some exotic animal. Or at least, were no longer obvious about it. The trip to school was thankfully uneventful as they headed to the pyramids in the distance, with no unexpected detours for a change. As usual, the queue at the school entrance snaked its way across the freshly power-washed courtyard, where the students all patiently awaited their turn for the routine security screening, though thankfully the line was moving at a decent pace.
"Well, looks like things are improving,"
Alora noted, as they all joined the queue, their footsteps echoing lightly against the marble floor, while drones casually floated around them, scanning and noting them as actual students, before moving on. Looking around, Jack agreed with the Eladri. Though he could hear the whispered conversations from students around him mentioning a few of the news stories from the previous night, there was still an unmistakable calm in the air around them. Things were finally getting better.
"Yes, there hasn't been an incident since that recruiter showed up a few days ago,"
Chio noted. Security got them to fuck off quickly enough, Nika shrugged. Remembering how they had all seen when the poor man had barely gotten out 3 sentences, bleating about the glory of the Emerald King, before a squad of well-kitted out prefects, flanked by intimidating-looking zero-zone security droids, intercepted and promptly kicked the shit out of him. So they're probably not going to bother again, Scifi chuckled, though they kept bringing food.
"True, but now that the local economies are stabilizing and recovering, people aren't as desperate for food,"
Alora noted. It certainly helps that Corvin Enterprises aren't price-gouging the food markets anymore, Jack agreed, as the queue started to move along much quicker as more prefects had manned the security checkpoints. Eventually they got through without any trouble, with Jack having gotten used to the paranoia of the prefects by this point, as the students all separated to head to their form classes.
"Good afternoon, class,"
Mrs. Schlart greeted them.
"Good afternoon, Mrs. Schlart,"
the class chanted back in reply.
"I trust you all had a productive day. Before I dismiss you all for your temporary reprieve from attending school, which we expect you to utilize wisely for the benefit of your education..."
She paused, scanning the room with a steady gaze, making sure everybody was paying attention.
"The headmaster has ordered that I, as your form tutor, address some of the recent developments in the city, and how they may affect you during this time of academic reflection and personal study. While I understand that the current events might be causing you some concern, I must remind you that our priority here is your safety and your education both in and out of school. Please remember that you should avoid any unsanctioned ventures into dangerous areas, and report any suspicious activity to local authorities immediately," Mrs. Schlart told the students, and Jack got the sense that the detention-loving teacher was genuinely concerned for them all. "I urge you all to be mindful of your surroundings, and to cooperate fully with any local security personnel. Safety protocols here have been updated in preparation for your return for the new semester, and while our daily routines will remain unchanged, your vigilance is appreciated."
Mrs. Schlart looked at them all seriously.
"I expect to see you all back unharmed when you return in 2 weeks. Remember to keep your heads down, don't break any local rules, and stay away from corruptive influences. Other than that, I hope you all enjoy your time off. Class dismissed."
Jack sighed contentedly as they all got out of their seats, happy to start the holidays, with Nika and Scifi grinning as they walked up to him. The day had been boring, mundane, dull, lifeless, uninteresting. Considering the havoc when he first got here, it actually felt strangely okay. But right now, it was time for a game of deathball.